The One Thing. This week is all about one character dining experience that we enjoy the most at the Disneyland Resort. Joining us this week for The One Thing, our very good friend and former Disney cast member Sharon, and of course AttractionFaction.net's Tyler Crouch, and in Walt Disney World, Mr. Gared Hassel. We'll be jumping out to him here in just a moment. But before we do that, what, Sharon, might be your very favorite Disney character dining experience at the Disneyland Resort?
For a long time, it was Goofy's Kitchen, but then recently, it's the Plaza Inn.
Really?
The Plaza Inn.
What changed your mind?
I think it's the character experience. Yeah? Obviously, it's the characters. They're just. I think they're more excited. I don't know how to explain it. And also from PhotoPass, like I used to work at dining locations a lot, and their interactions with characters is just different inside Disneyland, rather than going to Goofy's Kitchen. Excuse me.
There's something pretty spectacular about starting your morning in the park and having the castle right there and having the characters with you in a Victorian era setting in a buffet style restaurant. And certainly the Plaza Inn seems to be that one location that just has like the most amount of characters too for a character
get
dining.
any character. It's a big surprise there.
Yeah,
sometimes.
it's like a party.
Yeah.
Basically, you know, you got Minnie Mouse, who's your centerpiece and who you know is going to be there, and then whoever else shows up.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've seen everything there from Peter Pan to Alice in Wonderland to Fairy Godmother. Captain Hook shows up. I've seen Gideon from Pinocchio.
Oh, yeah.
I saw Max once.
I saw Piglet one time.
Goofy?
Piglet,
and I
see,
was like, that
you never
never
know.
happens. Yeah. Never happens. So
Yeah, Plaza Inn, huh?
yeah. And the castle is right there. You're right. Like I can get a 7 or 8 o'clock reservation. I get to walk down on Main Street before some people and get some breakfast and then be onward with my day.
It's pretty special. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, Tyler, what about you? Favorite character dining in Disneyland?
Well, truthfully, I haven't done a couple of these things since they've changed them over. Like they moved Donald over to Paradise Pier and stuff, which I haven't seen that yet. But I'm just gonna have to go with kind of the old classic standby, which has been there forever. I'm gonna have to go with Goofy's Kitchen just because it's the one I've done the most.
Yeah.
And I think it has kind of the most interesting food too, in a way. Like it's got a lot of classic little dishes. It's got the buffet style thing, but then on top of that, it's like they've just got like macaroni and cheese pizza and stuff like that, like weird stuff that only a goof could put together. So I love it. I love how you get to have the little picture with Goofy in the beginning when he's in his like chef outfit, and you get to take the picture in front of his little kitchen. And I think the one downside is that most of the time when you go there, Mickey's not there. I think if you want to go see Mickey, he's most of the time not going to be there. I've seen him there a couple times, but
He hangs out at dinner now at Goofy's Kitchen.
does he hang out at dinner?
Yeah,
oh,
that's
okay.
his
So he
home
is
is at
there
dinner.
during dinner. Okay, so I didn't know that because when I went before, I thought it was like a special occasion thing that he would show up occasionally. But
For
anyway.
a very long period of time, he was not a part of the experience at all.
Right.
And then he popped up one night at dinner, and he stuck around a while as a visiting celebrity chef.
Sure.
That's what he did. Yeah.
But, I just like the whole idea of Goofy is just doesn't know what the heck he's doing in the kitchen, but he somehow puts it together, and I just think that's a lot of fun.
And in recent years, the story of Goofy's Kitchen has sort of evolved, which I think is a lot of fun. And now, as you walk in, on the wall there are some portraits of the staff, basically. So there's pictures of Minnie Mouse, and she has a role as, I think, the pastry chef or something like that. And then you have Pluto and Chip and Dale, and you've got server characters, and you've got everybody sort of playing a role within the kitchen, which is a lot of fun. There was an era where many years ago, before they kind of switched over to that storyline, where you used to, much like Plaza Inn, you would go into Goofy's Kitchen. Sometimes you would see Aladdin and Jasmine all of a sudden. And you never knew who was going to be there. Now there's sort of a more cohesive storyline, I guess, for the kitchen itself. And now it's you know what you're going to get for the most part. Every once in a while, Donald shows up and surprises people.
Oh, I've never seen him there.
Yeah. Sometimes he'll fill in and make an appearance.
Sure.
But yeah, for the most part, it sounds like Mickey is hanging out at nighttime for the dinner service, and then you've got your other standard sort of Fab Five characters during the day.
Yeah. I mean, I will say too that when I went to last time I went to Goofy's Kitchen, we went with Katrina's niece and nephew, and just to see them so excited to see these characters walking by, I mean, it was probably the highlight of the day for me almost, because just to see their smiles, and a lot of people go, wow, that's expensive for dinner or lunch or whatever. But honestly, you're paying to have these interactions with the characters too. So, right. I mean, and it makes it so easy, compared to spending all your time going to the parks and waiting in line for each individual character. Just do a character dining. It's just nice.
Yeah, you touched on the price there. That's certainly something to think about. Obviously, character dining is not cheap, and if you go in for breakfast, a little bit cheaper than what you might experience at dinner. Dinner usually is another $15 a head or something like that, and typically you'll find upper 20s, low 30s for breakfast, and then closer to the 40 somewhere in there mark. Sometimes even 50 during peak seasons, depending on the restaurant. So per head, it is a lot of money. So we would definitely want to make sure people understand that character dining experiences, probably not something you could do every meal for the sake of saving a buck,
sure.
But definitely something that is worth the experience for the sake of time, and if you have children or if you're a big kid at heart and you want to go experience those characters and not have to wait, they come right to you. Let's jump out to Walt Disney World and a kid at heart that we all know. Gared Hassel is standing by at Epcot. Gared, when you think about character dining experiences at Disneyland, have you been able to go to many, or do you have any experiences you want to share?
Honestly, I have gone to some in the past, but for the most part, like when I would go there, I only went to a few as a kid, just because across the street there's Subway, McDonald's, and then you have downtown Disney with all its amazing options. So whenever I would usually eat, I'd leave the park. But hearing everyone talking, and then also speaking with you this past week, I thought of a restaurant that is no longer around, known as Ariels Grotto. Where Paradise Pier used to be. Now it's Pixar Pier. What's it called now?
It's Pixar Pier now.
Oh, no, I meant like the restaurant.
Oh.
Lamplight.
Oh, yes. It's been converted to a Pixar Lamplight theme, yeah.
Yeah. But when it was Ariels Grotto, I remember I went there, I think it was like lunch or the afternoon, and you had Chip and Dale in little sailors outfit, and you had Donald and Mickey there. And for me, the most profound thing happened where Chip and Dale, being mischievous little chipmunks, they started pranking each other. They would go, they would pick up like sugar packets and try and put it in each other's hat without the other one noticing. And
silly chipmunks.
They did this for 5 minutes, and I was on the ground floor where I'm looking into, I guess, the water where they did World of Color, and I was just laughing so hard because these characters were just messing with each other, having so much fun. And then Donald gets over there and he starts stomping his feet, and then Mickey's it just became this orchestra of zany characterness, and I absolutely loved every second of it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Ariels Grotto, certainly it sounds like the time that you had visited hadn't quite become the epicenter for all things princesses at that point, and definitely had a few more eclectic characters in which to enjoy. It later became a all things princess dining experience, and up until I believe it was 2018, was something that a lot of people really enjoyed. A great place to take the kids and take your tiny princesses to go enjoy, and your little knights to get to experience all the princesses firsthand. And now I know that the majority of the princesses have moved over to the Napa Rose restaurant, sort of the crown jewel experience at the Grand Californian Hotel and Spa, and it's only on select days, it sounds like, too, so it's not even every day of the week. And you want to talk about an expense. Yeah. Whoa. You are paying for that experience, that's for sure. Haven't been able to experience the Napa Rose one myself since it opened, because it runs such a limited schedule. But I hear great things about it in terms of the overall experience and getting access to the princesses, because the restaurant is a rather intimate environment. And it's not like, say, your Plaza Inn that has 300 some odd tables and is indoors, outdoors, all over the place, and you have characters everywhere. You really get your time with the princesses at the Napa Rose. And I know that Ariels Grotto, especially for Shireen and I, we spent a lot of our time there as Disney cast members, and very, very special place.
Yeah, I miss it.
I do too. Yeah, it'll never be the same.
Yeah.
I will never look at it the same way, that's for sure. And Kurt, when it comes to character dining in your life, what do you most enjoy at Disneyland?
It'd probably be Goofy's Kitchen for me too.
You're a Goofy's guy?
Yeah, I really like Goofy's Kitchen. I just like how excited and how they bring up the energy. At one point, you're like twirling a napkin, and
Yep.
it's so much fun. The only problem I have with it now is that they've moved the security checkpoint like to right in front of the hotel.
Right.
So now you have to go through the security checkpoint, or to go back into downtown
Yeah.
Disney, you have to go through that, which I think is kind of a bummer, but I
It
guess
is.
a necessary step because of things.
Because of the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately, not everywhere in life is magical. Kurt, I'm sorry.
I can dream.
Yeah, we have to protect it.
Yeah.
So I would say for me, when it comes to character dining, especially having been in a position where I was responsible for all things character dining at one point at the Disneyland Resort, I have a very unique take on this. I would say the PCH Grill at Disney's Paradise Pier Hotel, a restaurant that has Donald Duck's Seaside Breakfast. It's gone through a lot of incarnations over time and definitely been toyed with. At one point was Mickey's Surf's Up Breakfast. Mm-hmm. Mickey has moved across the street, so if you're looking for things exclusively to Mickey Mouse, you would want to go to the Storytellers Breakfast at Storytellers Cafe with Mickey and Friends. But now Donald Duck has replaced Mickey at PCH Grill, and it's Donald, and it's Stitch, and Daisy, and Minnie, and sometimes you'll see Pluto there, and so it's a restaurant that I recommend for the very same reason why I recommend this restaurant in other discussions, and that is it's off the beaten path. Nobody seems to think about it. It's a very easy reservation. Not that it's poor or bad or an experience not worth pursuing. It's just so tucked out of the way, I think it's forgotten about most of the time. The food is great. The cast members are terrific. And the experience overall with the characters is second to none. They spend so much time with you because the restaurant is never really all that full. Unless you're going during a peak time of year where they're going to max out reservations at every restaurant inside of the Disneyland Resort. This place, I have had more amazing character interactions as a guest just sitting there eating than at any other restaurant that I've been a part of. And I, at one time, was responsible for the Plaza Inn, right? That was my restaurant. That was my breakfast. I was responsible for that. And I had a great time with those characters as well. But can I tell you that the added touch of intimacy that those characters bring at PCH Grill is second to none in all the other restaurants at Disneyland Resort right now in terms of character dining. So highly recommend PCH Grill. The price points are usually a little bit cheaper too because it is less sought after. And so I definitely think that that might just be the sleeper hit that people don't think about. Yeah,
I'd believe it.
Yeah, it's also a place that, as I had mentioned not too long ago, I go for Thanksgiving dinner to PCH Grill every year. Yeah, and so that is a tradition of mine now. And even Thanksgiving dinner, is it busy? Yes, I'll usually go around 1 or 2 o'clock when you want to do Thanksgiving dinner. Absolutely. I'll usually go 1 or 2 in the afternoon. And even though there's a line to get to the food sometimes, they still have the characters there for Thanksgiving dinner. And that's not something they typically do at night during the rest of the calendar year. It's usually just a breakfast. But the dinner transforms into just a buffet only during the traditional calendar year. But Thanksgiving dinner, they bring out those characters in their Surf's Up attire. Excuse me, not safari. Surf's Up attire with their beach bodies and their hats and a big straw hat for Donald and his flip flops and all those goodies. So definitely a place to check.
I always think about Donald's beach body.
Don't you?
Yeah.
His dad bod, beach bod.
Is he a dad?
I mean,
he's an uncle.
He is an uncle. Huey, Dewey, and Louie. That's for sure. He has a dad bod. So
Sure.
yeah. There's something to it there. At any rate, that concludes The One Thing for this week.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.